Hello and welcome to PS Such a Connection. I'm P.
And I'm S. And we are talking about Finding Prince Charming, Season 1, Episode 1. Brand new to the
Love finding
love
reality show
pool.
game.
And I was excited about this show long before it came out.
Yeah.
We were as
As
a duo.
soon as I heard about it and you told me about it.
We knew it was going to be the best. And I don't know about you, Pam, but I feel as though it did not disappoint.
No, I think it was awesome. I thought it was really good. It's still, I think, trying to get its feet.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to see what happens in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It didn't do a lot to show us a lot of the conversations that he had with people.
Not so far.
And considering it's a much smaller cast than, like, The Bachelor, like, they don't show us a lot of people either, but they have a lot more people.
That's true.
So you would think that they would use the small amount of people that they have to focus in more, but
they did it.
They're still getting it together. They'll figure it out.
Together.
Yeah, basically just what I said. It looks like it's going to be a really fun show.
Yeah, So what they haven't shown in the promos is any real intermingling, like
yeah.
within the suitors, anyone
Mhm.
like kind of like feeling each other, which I was the most excited for. I was like they're all going for Prince Charming, but what if like two of them like fall in love and like frolic off together? That would be so amazing. So I'm looking forward to any sort of crushes going on.
I feel like, are you sure there wasn't something in the promo?
Maybe. I heard them say it's dangerous to make friends. So I don't know what that means.
I felt like maybe it was just like a rumor or someone wrote on Twitter or something, but I thought I heard that like at least one person is like going after other guys.
I hope so.
So our Prince Charming is Robert.
Robert is Prince Charming, and I honestly don't know how they found a man that looks like an angel mixed with some like Disney prince.
It's actually insane how gorgeous he is.
Yeah.
It's almost insulting.
I'm crying. I'm really emotional today, but I'm crying at the thought of his face. The tears will start falling eventually. Oh my god. Like, he's so beautiful. Maybe I'm crying for, like, women everywhere. Like, oh my god. He's a beautiful human being.
And all the men who can't have him after the show is over.
I'm sorry, population, because after this, he'll be off the market.
They did things a little bit differently from The Bachelor / Bachelorette, where so I think it may have just been something they do this season, but maybe because they did it this season, they'll really like it, and they'll do it in the next seasons that they get, which they hopefully get.
Oh, they're gonna get
it. So instead of all of the suitors walking up and introducing themselves to the prince, they all enter the house, and then at the end, after they have like a little cocktail hour as they all get there, the prince introduces himself.
Which, first, I'm going to tell you a few things I like about this. I think we talked, like, Prince is so much better a title than Bachelor.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that. I feel like it's exactly what was it's the gay Bachelor, and it's close enough to the Bachelor that it satisfies what we want. It's not doing some weird, crazy, like it's basically the Bachelor, but it twists things up enough that it's still different enough from it. And so that's, like, just going into it, a few things that I really like. I love, because they're really utilizing this, it's all men, and and so you don't know which one it is. And so they utilize that, and they threw the guy in with all the other guys, and yeah, it was, like, suspenseful, and, like, one of them, like, even guessed it was him, and I was like, oh, yeah. So I thought that was smart on their part.
I liked when I think Robbie walked in, and he was like, if this guy's my competition.
then I don't know. No one's
I'm gonna go home.
Yeah. I liked when... So, like, Paul is the second one to come in, and Eric was the first, and Paul, like, flirted with Eric a little, like, is it you? And it wasn't, but... Yeah, so what about the contestants? Did you have any, like, favorites? Did anyone stand out?
Well, I really liked Paul, and I was glad he ended up staying.
Yeah.
Chad stood out for me. I think that's it for who, like, really stood out to me. There were, like, some that, like, there were things going on with them, but those were the ones that I was like, oh, I hope they make it pretty far. I want to see more of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like Paul and Eric, and, Chad also did stand out to me. It just showed him having kind of a connection, which we were worried about our namesake going into this, and they really saved it.
Oh my god. Oh my god. They are fantastic. Even more so than The Bachelorette was last season. Yeah. They said it more, but we'll talk about that later.
So, yeah, I don't know, like, there's not a lot to say about the contestants yet.
Yeah.
So, I was thinking about, do you know, Robbie? The really, really flamboyant one. And I don't know, I'm not very familiar with, like, gay culture. And so, like, some of, like the social cues and the terminology, like, elude me a little bit. So, our audience, if you are familiar, you'll have to bear with me. Me.
Yeah. Just let us know anything that we get wrong.
Yeah, educate us. Robbie, who seems to be, like, the most different, the biggest character out of all of them, I feel like people on Twitter were complaining about, like, the lack of diversity in the selection of gay people. Yeah. And I totally get that. I mean, to the gay community, like, baby steps, because The Bachelor, which has been around for ages, still, like, it took them, like, 12 years to get a black woman on there, so... Yeah. At the very least, there's a little bit of diversity ethnically, but...
yeah, they're still on their first season, so, like, if they can get past this season and then hopefully have, like, a very diverse second season, hopefully. Like, they're doing a lot better than The Bachelor if they get it in their second season.
And even, I'm gonna say, with body types, too, because there are really buff guys, there are less buff guys. Charlie was kind of a bigger guy, and, like, that's never happened on The Bachelor or Bachelorette.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think baby steps in the diversity. They're doing better than The Bachelor, for sure. What else?
Well, you started that with Robbie. What were you gonna...
Oh. I think I was just getting him with, like, the...
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's a little bit of a crazy one, I think.
Yeah, I actually read an article that it was either written by or it was an interview with Sam, who, like, at one point they get into, like, an altercation together.
Robbie and Robert?
And Sam.
Oh, and Robbie and Sam.
Yeah. Okay, so Sam, like, calls Rob out.
They were, even getting into that, like, day one, Robbie was starting some sort of drama.
I think this is it.
Wait, what?
It's, like, they're at the cocktail party before they all go and do their hashtags.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's then.
Yeah.
And, or maybe,
and he was,
like, right after that before the next day, but, and Sam, like, calls him out and says that you're, like, too over the top.
Yeah.
And like, they had this back and forth, and so this article was basically Sam saying, like, you know, I didn't know the guy and I jumped to conclusions. And he said what I kind of felt about Robbie, that he seemed like he was putting on an act.
Mm-hmm.
But he said in the article that Robbie is one of the realest guys that he's ever met. So that, like, that completely changes my view of Robbie, because, like, this is the thing that you kind of worry about when you go into these shows, because there are people who, like, I mean, it's a reality show. You know that they're going to cast characters. So there are people who would definitely act differently from the way that they are.
Yeah.
So when they're so over the top like that, you're kind of assuming that they aren't that person, and they're just being crazy to be crazy, or being whatever to be whatever. So it completely changed my perception of Robbie to, like, know from someone who's met him and talked to him that that's how he actually is.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, for me, I didn't necessarily think he was putting on an act for the show so much as, like, a facade in his real life, almost. Like, and I mean, we've only seen the guy for, like, one episode, but just when I see him, you know, acting over the top, I feel like, you know, his personality is an actor almost. So, like, being over the top may be his thing, but maybe he, I don't know, you know, like, it's kind of, I don't know. I didn't have a good first impression of Robbie, I guess, is my final point. But we'll see him. We'll see how he progresses.
Yeah.
He just seemed a little bit confrontational.
Yeah, that could be true.
Drama king.
In that opening cocktail party thing, Paul and Robert are talking, and Paul mentions that he's never dated anyone below 5'11".
Over.
Right, over, because he likes short guys.
Right.
And Robert's fairly tall. So this, like, creates a whole, like, snowball effect throughout the episode, where, first of all, when that happened, Robert, like, in his confessional was like, well, I need to exit stage left right now. Like, that doesn't mean anything.
Right?
Just because in the past you've dated shorter guys and you find yourself more attracted to shorter guys doesn't mean you can't be attracted to a tall guy. Or, like find love with a tall guy. I don't
get it.
I didn't understand at all. I was like, so you immediately just shut that, like, anything that could happen with that down because of an offhand comment that,
oh my god,
he only dates short guys.
I'm so not his type.
Especially Robert, because, like, he's everyone's
He's
type.
everyone's type.
Everyone on this earth would see Robert and be like, I mean,
yeah.
In the right circumstances.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just, it was so silly. And then, like, Paul then didn't talk to him during the whole, like, pool party thing. And, like, you know, it was just so, like, and then he, like, runs after him when he leaves. And Robert turns on some kind of sass. And he's like, you know, I thought you would have made an effort. This isn't a game, or some whatever he said.
That's something that's really interesting, because Robert is, like, on the cusp of being, like, kind of an asshole.
Oh, yeah. No, clearly. Like, and it's bad for me, because I already have kind of a bias against really wildly attractive people, but, like, they're kind of
assholes.
So he's not helping disprove this at this point.
Yeah.
But
so yeah, I just hope that he kind of, like, stops doing things like that. Just little tiny things that you're like, that's not okay.
No. Robert.
Don't know how I feel about that.
There's another one. It's something.
It was at the pool party. I know, because we, like, pointed it out to each other and we were like,
I don't remember.
Did he just what? but I don't think I wrote it down.
No.
I don't know.
So yeah, we're keeping an eye on Robert. It's easy to be disillusioned by his
His face.
facade, his face. But we're gonna keep an eye on you, Robert.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how we feel yet.
They do that hashtags thing. I didn't write down any of their hashtags.
No.
I thought that was something that I would have been like, no thanks, bye. I'll find love somewhere else. Like, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
It's a lot different than, like, you're getting up in front of people to talk to them. I understand that, like, coming on this show, you have to have, like, some social graces, which is why I wouldn't be able to be on a show like it to begin with.
Right.
But it's just really nerve-wracking.
To put all of your, like, define yourself in a hashtag.
Yeah. Nick really defined himself. He was like, this sentence, which is 300 words long, really, that's my hashtag.
Mm-hmm.
But
hey.
There were none that I thought were, like, bad.
Yeah.
They were all about love and, like, or opening up or, like, finding themselves or whatever.
Or something, yeah. And yeah, overall it was like I don't know, I felt like it was a very, like, we're, connecting with the culture, because hashtags are a thing now.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was, Nick, like, had fake, like, spray tanned his abs. Well, Robbie spray tanned Nick's abs, which I thought was a little bit of sabotage because it looked awful.
So bad.
And then there was, like, Charlie was, like, commenting on how people were acting in the house to Robert.
Which I feel almost, and, like, I have sympathy for Charlie, because maybe I read him wrong and Robert read him correctly and he was just kind of gossiping already.
Mm-hmm.
But the way I took it, Charlie seemed to be one of, like, a gay guy that isn't used to hanging around a whole bunch of other gay guys. And gay guys that are different from him, and I feel like he's kind of like this in my head, he was like this down-to-earth, like, whatever dude who came on this show, like, whatever. And he was like, wow, these people are kind of crazy. And he was, like, talking about that to Robert, like, but maybe he was just as, like, petty as, like, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I had kind of the same perception as Robert had. I can't remember exactly what the conversation was, but I remember being like, if you're already, saying things like that now, like,
yeah,
is it just going to continue, or is this just, like, venting in the first day?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe he was, like, fine, but
we'll never know.
We'll never know. And then there was, Brodney? Was the one who's from Atlanta?
Yes.
Okay.
And I wrote down Rodney, and that's not his name. Rodney. Which, I won't say it.
We're just gonna
move on.
Be fine. So yeah, they were from, like, the same place, and Rodney was like, I'm probably gonna leave, but then didn't. So, I don't know. I was a little upset with the way that he was like, well, we've seen each other before, so obviously we're not compatible. Like,
yeah.
It's a completely different set of circumstances, and the fact that you decided to come on the show and he is the prince, I would think, would be like, oh, that's destiny. We've never spoken before. We've never, like, gotten together before.
Have you ever seen the movie He's Just Not That Into You?
I have not. I know it's your favorite movie.
It's one of my favorite movies. There's this part where this, like, realtor is trying to market to, like, he's trying to sell houses to, like, this gay audience, and it's, like, this upcoming, like, gay neighborhood, and there's these guys, a couple there, and the realtor's trying to get with this girl, and she, like, walks out, and they're like, so that was awkward. And he's like, listen, guys, I'm having trouble with her. Like, she won't, like, be with me, whatever. And the guys are like, well, we can't help you. Gay signals are totally different than straight signals. Watch this. And, like, they stare at each other for, like, 2 seconds, and they look away, and they're like, that means move on, next. And then they stare at each other for 3 seconds, and then they're like, that means sex. Like, on. So, like, it was that kind of, like...
I don't know if that's correct.
Eye contact for more than 3 seconds means it's on.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess he just knew.
That's probably how it was.
That's probably how it was. I'm sorry for that really long anecdote about the movie.
No, it was great. I love it.
This is another red flag about Robert, almost. Because Nick was super awkward, and he goes up to Robert and is like, oh my god, I'm sweaty. I, like, sweat so much. And, like, which is awkward, and you probably shouldn't say. You shouldn't say it. But it's something inevitably that I would do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like, the fact that Robert was, like, couldn't deal with it after that. You can't deal with someone who's, like, nervous around you. Because you make literally everyone nervous.
They do a black tie ceremony.
A black tie event, right?
Oh, I wrote ceremony. Just because it's the rose ceremony.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know any better. I'm sorry.
I still think that if they had, like, gold little hearts sewed into their lapels, the prince could then walk up to them and rip it off.
No, that's what they need to do on Bachelor in Paradise.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's fair enough. And then you could transfer it to the next person. Oh my god. We should run
It has,
shows.
like, your name embroidered in it. Like, this person loves me, and then you just rip it out, and you, like, put it on the next, Velcro it to the next person.
Yes.
Black
tie event is clever, though.
Yeah, I thought it was really nice.
It seems kind of, like, without editing, if you were sitting there watching, you would be sitting them, like, trying to, like, take on this. It seems like it would be awkward in real life, but...
Yeah, probably. Just, like...
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, like, if he's really mad at them one week, he could just, like, keep someone that he doesn't really want to be there, so he can just, like, real tighten it up and just, like...
Yeah.
Some, like, revenge or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, there's some,
And looking at them, like, standing in the crowd, too. I only saw this on one person, but one, I don't know, like, if they tightened it all the way up and then, like, whoever was wearing it was supposed to fix it or whatever, but this guy did not fix it. I can't remember who it was, but I was like, oh. But I thought it's a nice, clever way, and, like, you want them to do something like roses, because... Like, they should hand out something.
Not just a name-calling type thing.
Yeah.
And I liked, going back to my other point about it's The Bachelor, but different enough, they didn't do it in order.
Yeah.
So you called up, and whether or not you get called, like, the name-calling is not the yes or no.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So, because in The Bachelor, as soon as your name is called, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
But this, like, you walk up and you're like, ugh, and, like, to your face, they reject you, right?
It's,
so it's
fun
like,
for us.
Yeah.
It's probably not fun for them.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't really like, though, is that, like, the final two come up and they have to stand there as he, like, talks to both of them, and then he's like... It makes it a little bit too, like... America's Next Top Model or a show like that.
Gotcha.
Instead of, like, a show where you're finding love.
Okay.
Where they're, like... I don't know. I just don't like that, like, calling 2 people out and then one of you gets to stay. Like, I think it should just be, like, whoever gets to stay, and then whoever doesn't goes home.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I mean, it does, I think, give the last two some sort of, like, opportunity to make their case. But again, at that point, I feel like he's already made his decision.
Yeah.
So,
So going home was Charlie, Nick, and Brodney.
yes.
I was a little upset to see Nick go.
Yeah, because he was, like, sweet. Like,
yeah,
he was definitely...
he was funny and he was sweet.
He was so sweet. He, like, got this awful fake spray tan abs and was like, oh, he had good intentions. Like, he was sweet. We liked him.
And maybe Robbie did. Like, you know, that's bonding.
It is.
And that's great.
It was great.
I would want to bond with the people in the house.
Yeah.
I wouldn't just want to close myself off.
It was Brodney, right, who took him aside and was like, I'm not here to make friends. Like, oh, already? Are we getting
I'm
to
not
this
here to
now?
make friends, and also I'm not attracted.
Yeah.
I don't think he said that to his face, but like,
basically.
come on, Rodney.
Which also, I was gonna say, like, Brodney, if you're not attracted to Prince Charming, which boggles my mind, there has to be someone else there you're attracted to that you would stay for.
Yeah.
That, like...
And that would be, I mean, like...
the drama.
You shouldn't, like, do that. You shouldn't. Like, we would probably hate him if he ended up doing that. But...
I would...
like, yeah, you know, just, like, look around and see if you can stay for another couple of weeks and chill with someone.
You would think. But
you never know what's gonna happen.
Work out that way.
So, our connection count...
wait for it.
...is 16. 16!
In a shorter time span than The Bachelor.
1.5 hours, they got 16 connections. It was awesome.
It was amazing. It was like a buffet. They were just throwing them out there.
Yeah, we couldn't write them down fast enough. We were like, connection. Oh my god, another one. Okay,
oh my
let's
god.
keep going.
So they're
Love this show.
really keeping such a connection alive.
Yeah. We were worried. We weren't sure if they were gonna... I mean, I guess it's a common word to use. I heard it in a football game earlier, but I guess I never associated it with being used that often.
Yeah.
You can check us out on Twitter at Such a Connection.
We're really excited to be live tweeting and reviewing Finding Prince Charming.
Every week.
Thursdays,
not Sundays.
Tune
unlike
in.
today.
Unlike today.